Today, before school, I saved a sandwich that I was going to eat yesterday, and I kept it for lunch in the refrigerator until I took it for school. I ate a yogurt, a granola bar, and a piece of wheat bread, even though it didn't really keep me full for that long. For Spanish, we had our daily overview and our daily diary until the next unit, and it went smooth. We reviewed irregular third and sixth form changing verbs for the irregular verbs, and then an assignment that we had to do. It was mostly a nosy but chill atmosphere. Something that I apparently overheard is that some teachers tend to drama dump. And as one of these students described their experience, they said in that class, their teacher made them shut up when they tried to stop them from speaking, is what I also heard. Not the teacher in my class, but the class that they were talking about. And a cool thing that relates distantly to social play tectonics is that every teacher, strict or happy, always sets a microenvironment for how the class environment would be. A strict teacher would always have complete silence, while laid back teachers tend to have classes that are more of a restaurant, bar type of noise. And it's pretty cool to know at the same time. For period two, I spent most of the 15 minutes on my phone distracted, and our team debated between volleyball and street hockey later on, but we voted for hockey. I wore sunscreen during the game, but it was very hot since this is hockey, not hockey in an ice rink, but hockey on a blacktop. As for the game, it went mostly fine, but I do say that our team was mostly on the offense because it was primarily meant for defense, but I took the offensive position instead, and I for a team. We were able to hit two goals, although the other team did get really close to multiple hits, so I had to go on defense temporarily about like two times. But like a spring, next round, I obviously went back on offense, and goalies did switch when we felt like it, so that goes to that. A big credit goes to Rayon, Giuseppe, Levi, Eli, Shiji, and his partner, and of course the hockey sticks also for participating. The final score was 4-3, but I still say that it was very close. Like we both could have scored more or less on hits. Period three, during PE, in the 15 minutes extra of free time, I realized that we had sketch notes assignment for our next class, this one right now. So I planned not just to do notes, but to also complete the sketch notes at the same time. And it went successful. And I wasn't able to write down as much as I wanted to, but I was able to complete two things in one try. I did miss notes about the weather systems, but it still went fine. I did miss a few key details. I was able to finish it anyway. During notes, the student did complain and make noise during the class, so the teacher ordered that they sit in the front since her partner apparently is pretty loud. In the free time, a student complained about a presentation they had for Spanish, and they said that the speaker speaks way too fast for understanding and that they're not Mexican, apparently, is what they said. He says that he's in Spanish honors, so on the surface, I wouldn't get why he's complaining. As for history, we did our next set of notes collection. Basically, what this is that at the end of every unit of note taking, we always turn in our notes and daily questions on the paper along with video assignments. Put it into a folder and turn into the teacher. I'm kind of worried since I did use simplified English and a little bit of illegal contractions and a little bit of Spanish. I might get a few points taken off and a little talk with the teacher, but it's not that type of like disciplinary stuff. Anyways, the next assignment we did was more scenarios, which is practically an introduction to this unit. And how this works is that we get in groups, we get a scenario paper up to the teacher, and we write answers on those papers. The next scenario paper that we go up to the teacher, he asks us what we learned, and then we get a next one. As we were finishing it up, my friend from PE in this class also said to me that our third partner was pretty annoying. He whispered to me that in some way, at least that's what he whispered to me. In some way, I was like a neutral zone between him from becoming more aggressive. Like I have no idea why his demeanor did get slowly more aggressive, but it didn't pass a flipping point, thankfully. The third partner was outgoing and tended to talk so much, and that's probably why we were all tired, I guess. We just wanted to eat lunch, is what I'd assume for all of us. But before I continued, the class ended, and we headed straight for our next period. As for lunch, the sandwich that I saved yesterday, I used that to eat today, and it went mostly fine. I bought a bag of chips along the way, and I had a crunchy yet soft and good lunch. As for most of the lunch, though, conversations went fine again. I can't reveal certain things, as I'd always say. But right at the end, our group got interrupted by a girl wearing a shoulder strap and gave the two girls in my group some sort of beauty pageant advertisement. And the last thing that she said to me was that on the day of commencement, he can congratulate you guys along the way, which I also laughed at. I think it's something that they've been spreading around our school. Some sort of beauty pageant for the girls out there. If you guys are watching, if you guys are interested, just DM me or like find someone who knows the source of this. Just like random people giving out like brochures. But as for English, I bet 2 cents that students will be late, and there were quite a few. Later on, the teacher rambled about why the class should shut up and during the first 5 minutes because she's busy and she's apparently doing a lot of academic stuff during this time and counting roll call also. She also said it's April, so you guys can't act like seventh graders. My kid said April, and then another one said hey bro, and then the class laughed because these are different ways of saying April if you have like accents or anything. She was a very close to a crash out, not even threatening to send one of the students or call the teacher here to watch the rowdy students. And oddly enough, even the people in my row, they're also extra aggressive too. Like not aggressive and like aggressive, but like they had that type of tone and demeanor. Like you shouldn't like hold like a long conversation with them. So I have no idea why everyone's being like aggressive today. So later on, my teacher used my pencil, nudged in my book as we were reading, and just to see the velocity, because apparently one of the boys in my row threw a pencil at a girl, and she tried to make him admit it that he did it by testing a pencil that I had and seeing if it falls versus how the thrown pencil would fall. Anyways, we read our book Nights by Eli Wiesel from 14 through 22, chapter 1, and we learned how the people are being sent on patrol cars even though no one knows where they're going, and obviously how all the Jewish police dealt with this instead of like the SS officers. I barely finished the assignment question for this chapter, and of course the people in my row were still as crazy. The would you rather was ice cream cone or just ice cream in a bowl. Now, a new word that I learned today from the book was surreptitiously, which is a niche word that means secretively. Now, as for math period, we did another math overview and another homework overview and a recap for the problems that we did yesterday. Later on, the teacher taught us how to find the slope again of a linear line, and it went mostly fine. An example here was multiple points here: 2, 5, 7, 5, 14, 19, 25, 41, which many others would simply find the slope since this is counting not by like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just random numbers, but this was a number table. So I decided to count from 2 to 7 on the y-axis and see how much units on the y-axis would -5 go until it becomes 5. And naturally, I counted it as 2, but others simply just use the slope. During the lesson continuation, the teacher had another ramble about why students shouldn't fail the class and says the classic, the bell doesn't dismiss you, I do. As another way to enforce our class rules and of course have people not talk to during class. During the worksheet assignment that was assigned to us, the two kids I talked to when my voice started to silence them here and there to concentrate, but these sets of worksheet assignment, even in basic trigonometry, they require a lot of conciseness and proportion, especially if you're new to it, so I had to listen to instructions very carefully. I asked my friends for help on how to do it, but both of them were also too busy on the assignment and other things. And my friend's handwriting really slowed me down because his handwriting, despite being English, has its own little unique accents, has its own little unique handwriting. Because my friend tends to speak closer with French and Russian, so it looked very Russian writing, and it was almost impossible to decipher the letters, even if my friend had correct answers for the math assignment. Like his handwriting is so incredibly unreadable that I would have to summon Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls just to translate it. I'm not saying it's bad, but when conciseness is needed in sure, like there's trouble with him when it comes to that. I'll be honest. I asked the teacher for help. She ended up telling me to look at the board, and now she made a whole announcement to the class saying, like, hey guys, apparently some of you guys don't listen during class, and some of your ears aren't working, so please look at the board to know how to do these given X problems. And look at the board, and that's what it says. And for the worksheet, though, I did face a big struggle because we had to follow the instructions sharply. For example, when finding what X equals for two shapes that are the same but are a little different when it comes to sizes and resizing it, especially when I don't know the image or the pre-image. I got confused when trying to find it because I also confused it with trying to find the scale factor, even though we're actually trying to solve for x instead. The biggest thing that did get me when it came to solving for proportions is what x equals. Like, how will I know if x will go on the denominator or on the numerator is one of my biggest troubles I've been facing with this local assignment right now. But as for that thing earlier, I think I did low-key kind of provoke my teacher. Not like provoke, but like, because I wasn't listening as sharply, she ended up having to make like a public announcement. So that's kind of interesting highlight of today is what I say.